Today on Meat and Heat, we are doing reverse sear tri-tip. Tri-tip is a popular cut on the West Coast, specifically in Northern California, but it's making its way across the nation and a lot more people in barbecue are getting into it. So we start today's cook by drying the surface of the meat. It's always good to clear off any contaminants, any of the liquids from the packaging. Then we trim off any excess fat. A lot of the fat is kind of hard, you don't think will render. Go ahead and get rid of it. Don't get too knife happy. Tri-tip is a little bit more of a lean cut, so there's not so much intermuscular fat, especially off of just, regular grocery store bought cuts. I don't normally like to trim too much, but I thought for the video I'd give a nice demonstration on what to do. I personally leave a little more fat than most. I don't do competition trims, I just like to cut as I see fit. Just be careful with the little paring knife. You can easily slice your finger. Go slow, it's not a race. And if you don't think trimming is for you, you don't have to. But if you can, do a couple trimmed, couple untrimmed, and just see what you like. There's a big fat cap on the bottom. A lot of usually loose silver skin type fat. Get rid of that. Just spot check before you do anything else. I like to apply binders to my meat, but before that I usually go one glove on, one glove off. It gives me a clean hand and a dirty hand, no cross-contamination. With the clean hand is where I'll grab my binders like my Worcestershire sauce or the rub, which is the store-bought Stubbs brand. You can make your own rub, you can experiment, but if this is something new to you, just go ahead and go with a store-bought. Nothing wrong with that. Stubbs makes a good one. Really, they're all going to be good, but some are just really good. And you're going to find those are going to be a little bit harder to find. You probably have to order them. But this should be good. Normally, I do a salt, pepper, and garlic powder. I like to try and keep it simple. Make sure to try and get every crevice, every little exposed area. Cover that with some rub. Better for flavor. Look at the color on those things. So we're using my Char-Griller Akorn Kamado today. It's a Kamado style cooker. You know they're similar to the Big Green Egg or the Oklahoma Joe. This is made of steel. The other ones are made of ceramic. So if this falls over, it'll be fine. The other ones might break, but in the long run, those are better because ceramic is going to last outdoors better than steel. It does a great job at low and slow as well as hot sears. So I'm going to go ahead and use the Cowboy charcoal briquettes and some pecan wood. I like pecan as my all-around wood. If I'm doing pork or chicken, I'll also throw in a lighter wood like some cherry or apple. Go ahead and pop my Char-Griller diffuser plate on there to help create an indirect zone. My cast iron grates, I spray a little canola oil on them before I put any meat down. It helps season them as well as create a non-stick surface. I usually keep a temperature probe right above the grate level. I can't find any of my clips, so I improvised with some aluminum foil and it did a great job. Go ahead and place the meat above the plate so you're getting mostly indirect. Throw some temperature probes in the fattest parts of the cut to try and monitor. On one of these, I'm actually shooting for medium rare as a reverse sear, so I'm going to pull it off a little early. The other one I'm cooking a little bit farther for preferences. So with the reverse sear, since I'm going to be cooking one further than the mid-rare, it's going to be used up, so I used my Weber Kettle for a hot sear. I used 2 bricks to create a little retaining wall where I can build up a nice hot fire and concentrate it. I throw some briquettes in a chimney starter, and then I'll use a starter cube. These little things catch quickly, and within 5-10 minutes I'll have a nice hot charcoal chimney starter full of white, hot, ashed over charcoal briquettes. It's going to create a searing surface right at the grate level, about 500 to 600 degrees. Be careful when pouring and make sure you do have a good set of barbecue gloves. You can easily burn yourself, especially with cheap gloves. So like I said, sitting right at that grate level, you're about 500 to 600 degrees easily. It's going to create a nice direct sear. And check this out. So you let that go ahead and cook a few minutes on either side. I pulled the tri-tip originally off the smoker at about 122-ish. I let it sit under foil for a few minutes. And make sure to flip it using some tongs or some other better gloves. I kind of burned myself there. You'll see the outside has developed a char, more of a crust. I prefer that flavor. I like a little bit of the burnt flavor on the outside. I think it pairs well with the mid-rare of the meat, but if that's not up to you, or if that's not your thing, just be careful when cooking on the outside because you can really overly char the crust. You'll see right before we wrap it for a second time, it's sitting at about 130. That's when we pulled it off of the sear. And after you wrap it in foil and you have a little carryover, should probably about 5 degrees more cooked than when you put it in the foil. It's always account for that. People pull their meats off at 135, then they rest it, but really they're getting at 140, 140 something. So go ahead, after about 15 minutes, go ahead and unwrap and see what you got. It's like a Russian doll of aluminum foil wrapping. You just keep going and going. You can save those juices. You can put them in a jar. You don't have to. That's up to you. It's pretty good stuff there. So there we go. You see the outside has a nice char, a nice crust. The rub cooked really well. And you'll see the internal is 136. Right at over mid-rare, and you'll see tri-tips have the grain goes 2 separate ways, so account for that. Sometimes take a picture of it before you cook it so you can follow which way the grains are running, because you want to cut against the grain. And there we go. A beautiful mid-rare reverse sear tri-tip. And like I said, you cut against the grain. Have a nice sharp knife. A sharp knife is a safe knife. Remember that. But just remember to know what's underneath your knife as you're cutting. Don't put your finger there on accident. Cool, I really appreciate you guys watching. Thank you so much. Please like, subscribe, and share. I have a list of items below in the description if you're looking to pick some things up. It really helps the channel out. Have a great day.